Tonight's big stories. Cracks in the unit team have widened further after the Marcoses and the Dutertes' showdown rallies just last night. Things even got a bit more personal, with attacks thrown by former President Rodrigo Duterte against President Marcos and even members of the First Family.
Last night's rally by the administration launched a new governance campaign. What exactly does Bong Filipinas bring to the table? We'll ask Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary Joey Villarama.
And here's some sad news for the local media industry as CNN Philippines officially ceased its operations today amid serious financial losses. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Angela Lagunzad Castro.
All right, what a weekend it
I
was.
know, right?
I know. I can't believe it's Monday again, but here we are. Definitely a big weekend for Philippine politics, specifically for the unit team, which quite literally and physically was split into two. What I'm talking about, of course, are the rallies that took place here in the metro and the other one in Davao. The former hosted by the Marcos administration and the latter led by the Dutertes. So let's start off with that kickoff rally for President Marcos's governance campaign or brand dubbed Bagong Pilipinas, which took place at the Quirino Grandstand in Manila last night and drew huge crowds of at least 400,000 people. Attendance check naman tayo ngayon. Present in the Manila rally is of course the First Family, House Speaker Martin Romualdez, and curiously, Pampanga Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who is known to be a close ally of the Dutertes. At first, it was unclear whether Vice President Sara Duterte would make an appearance at the Manila rally. But as we know now, the Vice President did show up in the Bagong Pilipinas event. She arrived at 3 p.m. and even went up the stage to address the audience. VP Sara left early though, right before the main program kicked off, to head to Davao for the prayer rally led by her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, against moves for charter change. The Bagong Pilipinas rally has drawn flack for supposedly being a PR event for the People's Initiative for Cha-Cha. But this is how President Marcos explained the purpose of that event.
Ang layunin ng Bagong Pilipinas ay maglatag ng mga mithiin na dapat natin makamtan para sa kinabukasan ng ating bayan. Tapos na ang patsi-patsi na plano na iiba-iba na ang nangyayari lang ay nagkakawatak-watak tayo.
We'll talk more about this Bagong Pilipinas rally and whether there was indeed a hidden agenda to it. But for now, pag-usapan muna natin itong prayer rally sa Davao against the People's Initiative. Masyadong marami, no? Napakaraming tao. Marami-rami ring dumalo. Estimated crowd count was 17,000 according to the Davao City Police. This was organized by supporters of the Dutertes and leaders in Davao. At syempre, attendance check din tayo after attending the Manila rally. Vice President Sara Duterte flew to Davao to attend this prayer rally against a charter change. Also present were former President Rodrigo Duterte, former Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez, former House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez, and even President Marcos' own sister, Senator Amy Marcos, who is a Duterte ally. The program started at 6 p.m. last night, but even before that, Sara's brother and Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte already had some words against the Marcos administration and to President Marcos himself. Baste even challenged the president to resign. Let's listen to that.
Mr. President, kung wala kay gugma o wala kay aspirations sa imuhang nasod, resign. You are lazy and you lack compassion.
Okay, may sagot na dyan, no, si Vice President Sara. As of today, ang sabi niya, I'm going to read it out, I have not spoken to my brother about his remarks on the president's resignation. I can only surmise that he is coming from a place of brotherly love, coupled by the common sentiment that I do not deserve the despicable treatment that I am receiving from some sectors within the inner circle of the president. Ayun nga, so I think we've all seen this on social media. Vice President Sara Duterte did attend both rallies. Ang galing nga nung timing.
Ang galing, di ba? Kasi before, they were, syempre, ang mga tao tinitignan nila, attend ba si VP Sara? But for a few hours bago nag-start, wala pa rin siya. And then she came, kaya sabi, umattend siya. And then, right after ng speech, she flew to
nandun na rin siya sa Davao. Remember last Friday, we also spoke to Senator Amy Marcos and she said, syempre, invited siya, required daw siya pumunta sa Manila rally. But as we saw, she was also in the Davao rally after she told us na pagod daw siya, nagpapahinga siya over the weekend. So, also on Saturday, Senator Amy was in Norzagaray, Bulacan, no? Nag-attend siya nitong religious event at doon, pinagdasal niya raw na ilayo ang kanyang kapatid sa demonyo. At kasama doon, no, pinagdasal din ni Senator Amy na sina Vice President Sara Duterte, Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva at ang buong Congress.
Haplusin nawa ninyo ang puso ng aking kapatid, ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Buksan po ninyo ang kanyang mga mata at bigyan niyo siya ng kaliwanagan ng pag-iisip. Gisingin niyo po siya at ilayo sa mga demonyong nakapaligid sa palasyo.
Kasunod naman yan, Sean, may umapela si Manila 6th District Representative Benny Abante na wag daw gamitin sa pamumulitika ang pagdarasal. Sagrado daw ito at hindi dapat ginagamit sa personal na interes, lalo na ng mga opisyal ng gobyerno.
And in case you missed all of former President Duterte's late-night free-flowing talk shows, eto na nga, merong latest niyan over the weekend sa Davao City Rally. And if you have not caught those clips on social media, well, the former president sowed more tension to the already strained Uniteam tandem by straight-up calling President Bongbong Marcos a drug addict.
May drug addict tayo na presidente. Nung ako'y mayor, pinakitaan ako ng evidence ng PDEA. Doon sa listahan, nandoon yung pangalan mo. Ayaw kong sabihin yan kasi magkaibigan tayo. Kung hindi magkaibigan, magkakilala. Mr. President, hindi ako magiging ng tawad. Kagawan mo yan. It is your responsibility sa sarili mo. What you do in this world binds you.
Now, that's actually not very new. It wasn't also the first time that former President Duterte spoke ill against Marcos Jr. Because back when he was still a presidential aspirant, Duterte called Marcos Jr. a weak leader. In response, President Marcos had this to say.
I think it's the fentanyl. Fentanyl is the strongest painkiller that you can buy. It is highly addictive. And it has a very serious side effects. And PRRD has been taking the drug for a very long time now. After 5-6 years, it has to affect yun. Kaya, alagay ko, kaya nagkakaganyan. So, you know, I hope his doctors take better care of him than this. Hindi pinababayaan itong mga nagiging problema.
But sir, can you categorically deny that you're involved in drugs para matapos ng...
I won't even dignify the
And while PBBM chose to laugh about the drug allegation, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA categorically denied the accusation for him. PDEA said President Marcos was never on their drug watch list.
We maintain and we would like to categorically state that our president is not in the watch list. Wala po siya sa listahan even with the previous supposed narco list. You know fully well, ang dami pong nasali doon.
Hindi lamang si PBBM, nasama din sa mga pasaring ni former President Duterte sina First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos at House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Mabuti sana kung bright kayo. Kung drug addict ka lang naman at may asawa kang hungry for power, tapos may isa itong taga-related, gusto siyang mag-Prime Minister.
But wait, there's more. Hindi pa dyan nagtapos, no, si ex-President Digong. He also alluded to the ongoing People's Initiative and warned President Marcos to consider his next moves carefully.
Sabi ko nga sa iyo, Mr. President, kaibigan kita, Niño. Pag pinilit mo ito, lalabas ka ng Malacanang kagaya noong panahon na pinalayas kayo.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez, meanwhile, called out the Dutertes for disrespecting the president and their family.
At sa pamilyang Duterte, siguro konting galing naman sa ating mahalang presidente at saka pamilya niya. Yung pahlanon naman ninyo, ginalang naman kayo, di ba? Masyadong maaga naman ninyo yung gusto ipagbaksak isang rehimen ng President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Very popular siya. And he was elected with a bigger mandate than the former president. Kaya igalang naman natin yan. Yan po ang mandato ng taong bayan ng Pilipinas.
Amid all this political drama, the president set out for a 2-day state visit to Vietnam. Present in the departure ceremony is Vice President Sara Duterte, who he has put in charge as caretaker in his absence. The two acknowledged each other briefly in that event.
So much to unpack here. To help us with that, we have with us on the program political analyst Ronald Llamas. He is a former presidential political advisor to the late former President Noynoy Aquino. Ronald, first of all, you called it. Ito na nga ba, no, yung na-forecast mong all-out war na magyayari nitong 2024 between the families of the Dutertes and the Marcoses?
Good evening, Sean. Good evening, Angela.
Good evening.
I think dito sa show nyo, sinabi ko last December na pagbukas ng bagong taon, open warfare na. Kaya mukhang hindi naman bago. Mukhang expected naman itong outburst ni ex-President Duterte last night. Ang medyo nakakatawa lang ay only in the Philippines na isang ex-president ay in one speech ite-threaten yung incumbent president ng lahat ng forma ng pagpapabagsak sa presidente at saka sa gobyerno. From insurrection, destabilization, uprising, coup d'etat, secession, even assassination, no? dito lang ako nakakita ng ganyan, no? Na lahat ng uri ng pagpapabagsak ng presidente at saka ng gobyerno ay sinabi niya in almost one breath, no?
Oo nga, Ronald, alam mo, ikaw hindi ka nagulat na nangyari to, pero para sa amin medyo nabulaga. Although medyo nandyan na nga, no, yung writings on the wall early on, meron pa rin mga surprises. At least personally for me, nagulat ako na nagsalita si Baste Duterte ng ganon. Nagulat din ako na nandun si Vic Rodriguez, former Executive Secretary of BBM. And si Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo naman, I was expecting for her to show up in Davao, pero nandun siya sa Manila. Did these same things surprise you or did you expect it? What do you make of it all?
No. Una ay the day before, may build-up na. Pinakita nyo nga rito si presidential sister na nanggagalaiti, no? Halos maiyak na gisingin ang kanyang kapatid, no? Himasin ang kanyang puso, no? Buksan ang mga mata at ilayo sa mga demonyo. Sino kaya yung mga demonyo na yon, no? Tapos in the afternoon, bago yung rally, ay nagsalita naman si Baste na calling for the resignation of the president. At sasakay na lang daw siya ng vapor papuntang Indonesia. no? At nung nangyari yan, medyo may build up na. Pero even beyond that, Angela, Sean, no? As early as 2022 after the election, nakita na natin yung mga cracks eh. Halimbawa, with the presidential sister, no? Nagalit siya na hindi man lang siya pinakinggan dun sa unang SONA. Marami siyang sinasabi na deadman ang presidente sa kanyang SONA. Tapos si ex-President Arroyo nanggagalaiti rin dahil hindi siya naging speaker. Kaya ang tingin nila, may sense of entitlement sila na sila yung nag-negotiate nitong unity team. Sila nagkumbinse kay Sara na maging vice. At sa tingin nila, sila nagpanalo kay President Bongbong Marcos. Tapos outside the kulambu sila. Kaya as early as after the election in 2022, nakikita mo na yung mga grumblings, makikita mo na yung cracks. At sumabog nga yan nung pumutok yung issue ng attempt na coup against Speaker Martin Romualdez. At natanggal si Senior Deputy Speaker Arroyo as Senior Deputy Speaker. At dyan na nangyari yung defining moment ng tambaluslos. Na sabi ko nga noon, that will define the next few years hanggang 2028. Yung tambaluslos incident na yan. And the rest is history. No? Lumala lang lumala, nawala yung hundreds of millions na intelligence at saka confidential funds. No? Nangyari yung tuluyan ng tinanggal si Deputy Speaker Arroyo at nangyari na rin itong banatan ni President Duterte na sabi niya dinidisrespect yung kanyang anak, no? At sinabi ni Browner, Chief of Staff ng ating Armed Forces, na merong mga destabilization at saka even coup attempts against BBM na ang sabi naman ni ex-President Duterte, kinakausap lang naman niya yung mga generals, no? Mukhang pinag-uusapan nila paano gumawa ng omelette, no? Kaya hindi siya bago no? Right. Ang pinaka-last straw rito ay yung ICC. Bagamat sinabi ng Secretary of Justice at mismo ni President Bongbong na hindi sila magko-coordinate sa ICC, which is logical dahil hindi na tayo membro ng ICC. Pero papapayagan na nilang pumasok, no? And this wasn't lost on the Duterte, no? Para sa mga Duterte, this is an existential issue. Yung existence nila nakataya rito. Pag pinapasok yung mga Duterte, pinapasok yung ICC, dahil sa testimony ni Las Cañas, hindi lamang si Digong at saka si Bato ang kasama. Kasama rin si Bongo, kasama rin si Sara, at marami pang iba. Right. So, talagang bagamat gumawa ng attempt si Digong 2 weeks ago sa kanyang press con sa Davao na mag-send ng feelers indirectly raw para makipag-usap kay BBM at sinabi pa niya komportable siya kay President Bongbong Marcos at hindi siya naniniwala na may kinalaman ito sa ICC at hindi siya naniniwala dito sa pulburon video, etc. etc. Mukhang no takers Kahit inaayos ni Amy yung meeting, mukhang hindi natuloy. Kaya ito, talagang nag-escalate na itong binanggit ko sa inyo last December na open warfare.
Okay. May nakulang ako doon sa attendance, Ronald. Vice President Sara Duterte who made it to both rallies. In your opinion, should she have just picked a side? Okay ba itong ginawa niya na namangka, quote-unquote, sa dalawang ilog? Perfectly timed with a almost 2-hour flight in between at nagawa niya mag-attend. What do you make of her move? Does it weaken her political capital at all?
Well, definitely. Dahil wala namang naniniwala na ang kanyang loyalty ay nasa presidente, sa bagong Pilipinas, habang nandun siya sa rally ng kanyang pamilya, ng kanyang mga kaalyado, ng kanyang campaign manager, na talagang napakatalas at napaka-hardline nung atake sa presidente niya. Nakikita ko kasi yung mga ganyang klaseng being in two places at once. At the same time, nakikita ko lang yan nung panahon namin sa Star Trek, yung teleportation yata ang tawag dyan. Unless, sabi nga nung lolo ko sa Laguna, Pag kinikwento niya yung mga manananggal, hindi ko sigurado kung anong bahagi ng katawan ni Vice President Sara yung naiwan sa Luneta at pumunta sa Davao. No? Mas mabubuti pa kung meron siyang kaunting self-respect, mag-resign na lang siya kesa yung i-explain away niya na hindi ko naman kinausap yung aking kapatid, hindi ko naman kinausap yung aking tatay. No? Ang nag-organize ng Davao Rally ay si ex-Secretary Ebasco, campaign manager at saka strategist ni Sara Duterte. At sa mga Davaoenos, open secret yan eh. No? Open secret yan. Baka sa national hindi masyadong nakikita. Pero sa Davao malinaw. Yung nag-organize ng rally ay yung campaign manager, advisor, strategist, organizer ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Ang nakakatawa lang ay merong cast of character sa Davao na siguro last year hindi mo aasahan na magsama. Si Bebot Alvarez at saka si Sara Duterte. Malinaw naman, tinanggal si Bebot Alvarez as speaker ni Sara. Nandun din si ex-secretary Ebasco na tinanggal sa cabinet ni Digong at sinuportahan ni Bongo yung kanyang kalaban for governor sa Bohol. Pero yun, makakasama rin sila sa Davao, di ba? Nandun din si Vic Rodriguez, no? Na malinaw na ito ang pinakamalapit kay Maharlika. No? Ito yung nag-create kay Maharlika noon, no? So, nakikita mo talaga yung cast of characters, no? Dito sa Davao, no? At naubos yung popcorn ko sa kakapanood. Kayo ba?
Hindi lang ikaw naubusan ng popcorn.
Oo, pero sir, kasi nga ito nga, doon pa rin tayo doon sa pinag-uusapan natin. Hours before mangyari itong prayer rally nung Sunday, yesterday in Davao, ay nagsalita nga itong si Mayor Baste, no? Calling Marcos to resign, ang dami din yung mga nasabi doon. Is this something you expected from Mayor Baste? At sa pagsabi niya ng mga ganung pananalita, sa tingin niyo po ba may consequence yun?
Definitely. Pero actually, ito yung first time na narinig ko siya nagsalita. Akala ko kasi nasa Committee on Silence siya. Pero ito yung first time na nakita ko siya nagsalita at very sharp yung kanyang sinabi. No? Pwede naman palang public speaker si Baste. Wala naman pala siya sa Committee on Silence. No? At ito yung kanyang introduction dito sa public discourse. No? At maganda yung kanyang pagpasok. No? Resignation. No? Walang compassion, tamad, at oppressive ang presidente. No? What more can you say? No? At magandang build-up yan doon sa kanyang tatay. No? Na inuulit ko, lahat ng threat sa pagpapabagsak ng isang gobyerno at isang presidente, sinabi in one breath. No?
So sa tingin mo, Ronald, meron bang is there a plan from the Duterte camp, something else, baka mabulaga na lang tayong lahat, based on what happened yesterday? Based on the pronouncement, based on the fact na nag-attend si Sara ng parehong rally, nagsalita si Baste, like you said, for the first time. Ako rin, first time ko lang din siya marinig.
Well, nagiging totoo lang yung sinabi ni Armed Forces Chief of Staff Browner last year, na merong mga destabilization, merong mga coup attempts, may mga kumakausap sa mga sundalo at mga general. No? Very direct yung sabi ni Presidente, ex-President Digong, no? Yung mga military at yung mga pulis, no? Huwag payagan itong ginagawa ng presidente, no? Siguro kailangan nating itanong sa mga abogado kung yan ba ay grave threats, no? Dahil yung grave threat ni Digong na ipapapatay niya si Congresswoman Castro tinapon ng isang judge, no, na wala daw ganon, no. Siguro kailangan pang may mamatay bago magkaroon ng grave threats, no. Pero itong sinabi niya ay kailangan pag-aralan ng mga abogado. Dahil very clear, very direct at very sharp yung kanya mga sinabi.
Last na yung follow-up question ko lang dun sa mga sinabi mo, Sir Llamas. Do you think itong pag-form ng unity team even before was a disaster waiting to happen?
Well, ang problema kasi sa unity team, wala naman masyadong substance Wala namang platform, wala namang principles, wala namang vision, no? Hindi ko nga sigurado kung merong friendship no? Pero, usually, if you use a slogan na unity, dapat malinaw ano yung pinagkakaisahan. Ngayon, merong bagong Pilipinas. So ngayon, nililinaw nila yung vision. Ngayon, nililinaw nila yung substance. Pero nung nabuo yung unity team, wala siya eh. Kaya, para siyang hot air balloon na walang laman, kaya ang daling sumabog.
Alright,
No?
Ronald,
Ako, inaasahan ko nasasabog yan dahil wala ngang laman.
Oh, so hindi pa ito yun.
Naging paborito kong siopaw sa Mamunlok na maraming laman, lalo na pag nilagyan mo ng sarsa. Pero wala eh, hot air balloon eh. Kaya expected na sumabog.
Okay, so for all intents and purposes, no, umalis ulit si PBBM kanina, patungong Vietnam. Of course, nag-viral na yata sa social media yung video nung apparent snub ni First Lady. Okay, alam ko na, napanood mo. Ni First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, hindi niya bineso si Vice President Sara Duterte, whereas karaniwan niya itong ginagawa no, habang papaakit sila nung hagdan, paakit ng eroplano.
Yes.
Obviously, maraming cameras doon. Kitang-kita natin na medyo gano'n na lang. Nababaling kasi minsan nabablame no, si First Lady for some of these moves, kung nako-confuse yung mga tao, what do you make of it? Kasi kita rin naman that the usual affable PBBM, nagbeso, nakipag-usap, etc.
Well, the ball is now in the President's court. No, dahil grabe yung atake, hindi lamang sa kanya, kundi sa First Lady. Kailangan niya magpakita no, ng lakas, ng decisiveness, more than ever. Dahil kung hindi siya magpapakita ng tapang at saka lakas ngayon, no, ay lalong may engganyo yung mga destabilizers, yung mga coup plotters, dahil makikita na totoo pala, siya ay weak leader. So kailangan niya magpakita ng strength. Lalo na, asawa na niya yung binastos. No? Okay naman yung sinabi niya kanina na pitik na ito ay pwedeng gawa ng fentanyl. No? Pero in the next few days, ay kinakailangan niya magpakita. Dahil clearly, may nagpaplano ng destabilization. Clearly, may nagpaplano ng coup. At perhaps even worse. No? Pagkakasabi nga ni ex-President Digong, buti na lang, hindi na ako presidente. Kung hindi, baka nakasama ka dyan. No? Can it be clearer than that? So, kailangan niya magpakita ng lakas. Beyond yung statement niya na baka yan ay dahil sa fentanyl. Although, maganda lang pitik yun.
Alright, let's leave it there for tonight. Abangan natin kung anong magyayaring developments in the next few days. Thank you so much for your time tonight, political analyst and former presidential political advisor, Ronald Llamas. Okay, break muna tayo, pero marami pang darating. After that, we will be speaking with an official from the Presidential Communications Office on what the Bagong Pilipinas rally hosted by the PBBM administration was really all about. Keep it here.
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. No hidden agenda. That was what President Bongbong Marcos emphasized in the recently concluded Bagong Pilipinas kickoff rally. Let's hear that excerpt from the President's speech yesterday.
Bagong Pilipinas serves no narrow political interests. It serves the people. Bagong Pilipinas is not a new partisan coalition in disguise. It is a set of ideals that all us Filipinos, regardless of political creed or religion or wealth, can coalesce around.
In his speech, the President said that the movement is an invitation, encouraging every Filipino to view the nation from a renewed perspective. Marcos acknowledged that there are selfish people who think the country is hopeless and are dragging Filipinos down the road where everyone is just thinking for themselves.
Bawal ang tamad at makupad sa pamahalaan. Walang puwang ang mga mabagal at sagabal sa serbisyo publiko. At saka palitan na ninyo yung sungit ninyo, palitan na ninyo ng ngiti. Complex requirements and the processing time must be reduced.
Joining us tonight to discuss this Bagong Pilipinas kickoff rally that happened yesterday some more. Joining us via Zoom, Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary Joey Villarama. ASEC, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Sean, Angela. Good evening.
All right, Joey, everyone's been asking this. I'm sure nakita mo na to online, everywhere. Probably you've received messages. The timing of the Bagong Pilipinas rally, when was this really planned? Last week, we spoke to former presidential legal advisor Sal Panelo. Sabi niya parang nauna daw iplano tong rally sa Davao. Totoo ba? Since when were you planning this kickoff rally that happened last night?
Actually, the kickoff rally was planned a long time ago. Just to give you a background, the Bagong Pilipinas campaign was introduced via a memorandum circular that was released or issued by the President in July last year. So around that time, dapat meron na yung launch. So in that memorandum, the President said that all government agencies and offices must embrace Bagong Pilipinas as the brand of governance of the campaign. So logically, since hindi naman kasya sa isang memorandum lang ang kung ano yung Bagong Pilipinas brand of governance, kailangan maipaliwanag ito. So if I remember correctly, dapat nung October, which is Communications Month and which is also the anniversary of the Presidential Communications Office, dapat dun gaganapin. So PCO is the lead agency in charge of information dissemination for this Bagong Pilipinas concept or campaign. Pero dahil naging busy yung PCO, pati si President at that time, na-move siya noong December. And then December, the President had foreign trips. He went to Japan and then obviously holiday season. So na-move na naman. So in terms of timing, dati pa, proximate to the release of the memorandum, dapat para maipaliwanag ng husto sa mga kawani ng gobyerno yung Bagong Pilipinas concept. Pero yun nga lang, the schedule got tight, the schedule got busier. So na-move lang na-move until kahapon.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. No, I was reading kasi an article on Verifiles which parang curiously dapat nga daw last year tong na-launch. So basically it's just a scheduling issue. Of course, the President at lahat ng mga foreign trips niya, we know about it naman. So yun lang talaga yung reason.
Yes, scheduling conflicts at saka dahil sobrang busy nga ng schedule ni President. So it just had to be moved. But government agencies were already aware of this campaign as early as July, as I mentioned, through that Memorandum Circular number 24. Pinalagay na rin ng, through the memo sa government communications, letterheads, signages, yung logo. Pero yun nga, wala pong paliwanag pa na thorough na paliwanag kung ano itong brand of governance na ito.
Okay. So we understand na this is somehow the parang branding ng PBBM administration. But ano ba daw talaga yung goal ng Bagong Pilipinas na rally noong Sunday? Kasi alam mo na, yung mga opposition sa administrasyon na ito, sinasabi nila na waste of public fund lamang itong ginawang rally because you've hired several artists to perform, etc. Instead of, using these funds sa pagbigay sa mga taong nangangailangan.
Add ko na rin, before you answer, Joey, na syempre a lot were saying that this is actually a pro-Chacha, pro-People's Initiative rally. So linawin na lang natin, how does this all fit in?
So I'll answer the last question first. If you listen to the President's speech, wala pong kinalaman sa current political issue yung kickoff rally. And then what is it for? So the kickoff rally yesterday was mainly marching order or a call on government workers who, kung matatandaan nyo, karamihan po ng nasa harap ng grandstand kahapon ay representatives from different government agencies. If I'm not mistaken, 40 government agencies. So, and then they numbered 400,000. So it was a rallying call from the President to the workers of the government to embrace this Bagong Pilipinas concept. So, yun nga po, namagit ko kanina, may memorandum pero hindi malinaw kung ano yung nitty-gritty nung initiative, nung campaign. So, kanina pinapakinggan natin yung mga diskusyon at in yung mga reports, gustong mabago yung mindset ng Pilipino because whether we want to admit it or not, there is a prevailing and pervasive culture of negativity. By that, I mean, may mga Pilipino na nagsasabi na, ay, hanggang dito na lang ako, ito lang yung kakayahan ko, mahirap lang ako, hindi na ako aasenso. So, among other things, this campaign wants to change that mindset. And the President said he wants to start with the government, a government that can be trusted by the people, and then when there is that trust in the government, then hopefully mag-trickle down to the rest of society. And the way we view ourselves as Filipinos with a sense of greater pride, yun po, mafe-feel natin na pwede na tayong umusad, pwede na tayong mag-progress dahil wala na po yung mga balakid in terms of the negative ideas and negative ways that we had or we used to have.
Okay, with this campaign, it's only the kickoff. It is a start of a new year. What else, what other activities do you have planned? How do you plan to reinforce this new slogan, this new campaign? Ano yung laman nito na maaasahan ng taong bayan? Meron bang mga follow-ups that we can expect?
In terms of information dissemination, marami yan, definitely. So, yesterday, before the President arrived, sa pre-program, tinatanong yung ilang mga secretary, like even the Secretary of PCO, Attorney Cheloy Garafil, tinanong kung ano yung bago sa department. And then, ang sinabi niya is, ang bago sa amin is, the Philippines will be shifting from analog to digital TV. So, we will be giving out digiboxes para to help transition to digital format. Sa iba't ibang departamento, the marching order is kailangan meron kayong bago. Ano yung bago sa inyong department na pwede nyong iharap sa mga mamamayan, whether it be in a form of a service or a program, continuing program, para yun po yung unti-unting maka-earn ng trust ng public sa government. Information-wise, we have education and information campaigns. Continuing yan sa PCO. Last year, we had media information literacy campaigns, and we introduced the Bagong Pilipinas concept there. Meron din kaming campus caravans. Last year, we had 2 at inintroduce din yung Bagong Pilipinas campaign to students. So, unti-unti yan, continuing yan, para malinawan yung mga tao. Because, again, although we're starting from the government to gain back that sense of pride and trust in the government, kailangan po bawat Pilipino, we as ordinary citizens, we also have a part to play para po mabago yung pananaw at magkaroon tayo ng bagong sense of pride as Filipinos.
Quick follow-up lang, Joey, doon sa Digibox na nabanggit mo, no? I heard you gave out nga an initial 1,000 units, parang ganon. Ang dami ko nakita sa X, sa Twitter, na nagtatanong, pero anong channel ba yung makikita doon sa Digibox na yun? So can you answer that for us? Is it gonna be like the other offerings of media networks na may maraming channels on it? Or is there gonna be some
From
sort
what
of...
I understand, yes, it's like the ordinary black box or digital box. I don't have much information on that, but this initial rollout of the Digiboxes by the PCO will help the people transition kasi mawawala na yung signals coming from the transmitters or antennas by, I believe, June or mid-year this year. So yun lang po para ma-pick up na po yung mga channel na nakikita natin on air at this time.
All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight and for explaining this new Bagong Pilipinas campaign kickoff rally. Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary Joey Villarama.
After the break, some big news from the COMELEC as the poll body decided to suspend all the proceedings regarding the People's Initiative. More details on that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Now, as the two chambers of Congress continue to lock horns over the People's Initiative, the Senate says it has gotten President Marcos to intervene and convince the House leadership to stop supporting the groundwork for PI.
The President is set to appeal to the House of Representatives and the other People's Initiatives initiators to stop this dreaded PI or their version of the People's Initiative. In his words, Madam President, my dear colleagues, it is getting out of hand. In no uncertain terms, my dear colleagues, the President expressed the need to protect the bicameral nature of Congress.
The Senate President did note, though, that strained relationship with the lower house, but that they are willing to work professionally.
Alam ko medyo strained ang aming relationship na yon with the House of Representatives, and we're going to try to stand above the fray, above the clouds, and be more statesman-like here. We will continue to work in a professional manner with the House of Representatives. Of course, hindi na katulad noon siguro na parang best of friends, no? But I think we can work for the people professionally.
The COMELEC, for its part, has suspended working on the People's Initiative. Let's bring in Mon Gualvez for some updates. Mon, go ahead.
Angela, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, is now focused on reviewing the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IRR, for Resolution number 10650, which they issued back in 2020. This as the poll body decided to suspend all proceedings related to the ongoing People's Initiative.
Sa ating palagay, may mga bagay po doon na kulang at wala doon sa ating pong guidelines. Na sa bandang huli, kailangan po ito upang maiwasan ang problema, kaguluhan at hindi pagkakaunawaan doon sa interpretasyon ng mga provision ng ating rules.
Included in the COMELEC's review are concerns on withdrawing signatures, the barangay's role in soliciting signatures, and alleged incidents of bribery.
Ano ang gagawin kapag kami patunayan talagang namili ng boto? Anong gagawin mo sa signatures? Per signature ba? O wholesale ba? O paano naman yung may kasalanan sa pamimili ng signatures? Ganun na lang ba? So wala po doon sa rules.
So far, the COMELEC has received nearly 7 million signatures from 209 legislative districts. These signature forms are with the poll body for safekeeping. Angela, for now, the COMELEC did not give a timeline nor a deadline for their review of the IRR. And they also appeal for all the parties concerned not to take personally their decision pertaining to the suspension of the proceedings related to the People's Initiative. Angela?
Thanks for that update, Mon Gualvez. Now, balitang El Niño naman tayo. Let's move forward naman from politics
Let's
to
take a quick
weather.
break.
Yes, oo. January pa lang, pero pero damang-dama na natin yung weather phenomenon na ito, especially in places up north. Over in La Union, farmers are manually digging up the ground in search of water, and nearby province, Ilocos Norte, some crops are already destroyed also because of water shortage. Now, Brian Basa gives us the latest on those and what the government is doing to ensure sufficient supply of water in these highly affected areas. Brian, what do you have for us?
Naku Angela, damang-dama na nga sa iba't ibang lugar sa norte ang tumitinding epekto ng El Niño. In Balawan, La Union, farmers were digging up the ground under the scorching heat of the sun, not to plant but to look for water. They say this is their way of preparing for the even bigger impact of El Niño expected in the coming months. Ngayon pa nga lang daw, unting-unti nang nauubos ang tubig sa mga balon. They fear that the water supply from their wells will not be enough to sustain their tobacco crops during the dry season. In Ilocos Norte, the effects of El Niño are more evident. The last time it rained in the province was in October last year, and now the grounds have started to crack. Ilocos Norte is among the 8 provinces that are experiencing drought or extreme dry weather. Even rivers and irrigation systems are starting to dry up. La Union and Ilocos Norte officials say they're ready to work with the national government should the situation worsen. They also vow to assist affected farmers.
Meron din kaming mga available na pump and engine set, mga water pump, para may mga gamit sila nga pang draw ng water. And then may mga assistance pa kami sa mga farmers natin na yung pag-repair ng kanilang mga, yung tinatawag nating mga small farm reservoir, mga irrigation canal para lumalim sila. So, may nakalaan naman na pondo tayo na libre.
Despite this, though, the MWSS will not get tighten its water allocation for Metro Manila, even if the water level in Angat Dam is continuously dropping. Angat's allocation for NCR will remain at 50 cubic meters per second. The MWSS notes there was no huge drop in water supply in the dam. In fact, the water level there is at 211.55 meters today, slightly lower than the 211.68 meters on Sunday.
Pag-average kasi nung pagbaba ng Angat Dam ngayon is nasa 12 cm per day. So, mababa siya, no? Compared doon sa mga previous year na ang normal kasi namin around 20 to 25 cm per day. So, sa ngayon, since medyo hindi pa malakas yung consumption ng ating customers, so mababa pa yung yung trend, no, ng pagbaba ng ating reservoirs.
Pag-asa earlier warned the effect of El Niño will worsen by March or April. The Environment Department says water supply in Metro Manila can last until May or June. So it's best to focus efforts on areas outside the capital. Data from the DNR and PSA show 40 million Filipinos, or 30% of the population, still have no formal access to clean water. The DNR says some 250 billion pesos is needed to address water supply issues, and that solution could take up to 5 years to implement. The agency is now eyeing possible loans from the Land Bank for this measure, but for now, the DNR says the short-term solution is to deepen wells and build more water tanks in affected areas. Back to you.
Thank you so much, News 5's Brian Basa.
Right before we go, time for our big picture tonight. In this image, we see the entire staff of CNN Philippines join in one last photo as they end their operations after a 9-year run. Ito naman, we have Pia Ontiveros, chief correspondent and anchor of Newsnight on CNN Philippines, as she posted photos with the staff of the network's flagship newscast. CNN Philippines officially announced that it was shutting down operations on all platforms following several years of incurring net losses. CNN Philippines first aired in March of 2015 using RPN9's free TV frequency after 9 Media Corporation secured a licensing deal. The TV frequency will now revert to government control, and RPN9 will continue to operate, where programs like Eat Bulaga and the PBA Games can also be watched. Isang mahigpit na yakap to the entire CNN staff. Do you feel na parang
our heart goes to our media colleagues?
I know, parang nabawasan tayo ng kakampi.
Totoo. But babalik pa yan. We will see.
All right, so our hearts go out with you, everyone from CNN Philippines. However, that's it for the big story tonight. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you and good night.